Hello, Klaus.
Hi, Peter.
Now you are the instructor on the 6061 course on medicaldevice.com. Not only that, you're a consultant in the area of 6061. But lastly, there's one more thing. You're also a member of the standardization committee working on the fourth edition of the 60601 standard. And because of that, I wanted to ask you if there are any news on the progress in that process that you could share with us.
Yeah, that's true, Peter. Indeed, I am part of that. Actually, two working groups on this project that's undergoing to update the entire series of standards in the framework of IC 60601. So there's a big 5 to 10 year project in progress. We're hoping for 5. Realistically, it will take longer. It started about a year ago, and we have around 200 plus experts working on it across the world. There's a design specification out there, and the entire thing, the general standard, 400 pages, the 8 collateral standards, and a few hundred particular standards are going to be rewritten entirely with a few different objectives. We are aiming for atomic requirements. So right now we have a lot of text where requirements are integrated all over, and there's general agreement that it is quite ambiguous, unclear, and it's just a nightmare to reinforce and interpret for everybody. So we are rewriting, restructuring the entire thing. We have 12 working groups working on it. So it has been split up into 12 different fragments. We are working on anything from terminology to the very technical detail requirements for electrical hazards, mechanical hazards. In my case, I'm working on human exposure to electromagnetic field hazards and electromagnetic disturbances. So, and I'm convening one of those groups, the EMF group. And we just last week published our fragment, the first version, as a committee draft. So 5 fragments or draft fragments were published last week to make them available to the entire standardization community out there for national committees to read, review, comment on it, and try to understand the directions we are taking. So that we can engage the entire community and get their feedback and account for it in the process forward. So that's very fun.
But it's still not publicly available, right?
They are available only through IEC and ISO national committees. So you cannot purchase these standards yet. That's for quite a lot later.
And when you're a member of the standardization committees like that, you're not allowed to say too much about what's actually happening in the standard. I mean, you're not allowed to reveal too much about the requirements,
Not
right?
too many details. No, there are limitations on what you can disclose because you should be a paying contributing member to a national committee.
Which we both are, but on different standards. Okay, so when could you said something about timing? There is some time left. It took forever with the third edition. I remember that it was published in, was that 2000?
Well, no, 6. Yeah, 6. Amendment 1 was.
6, yeah, and it became sort of effective or mandatory more or less from a notified bodies point of view many years later. I think it took like 7, 8, 9 years or whatever.
Yeah, and it all started in 77 with the first edition. So yeah, and we have amendments from 2020. Yeah, so no, it's been a process to get where we are today. The real work on drafting the new fragment started last year in 2023. It started for real in, I think it was March this year, 2024. And the target is to publish the Finnish standard in 2028, late in 28 perhaps. And I think that's a very optimistic target, but that is what we're aiming for right now.
We are making this video near the end of 2024, so I guess there's still quite some time, but if you're in a development project with, let's say, 2-3 years of development time, which is not that uncommon, unfortunately, then in a year or so, you should probably start glancing towards that new version of the standard so that you don't do something which will be creating unnecessary difficulties later on, right?
Yeah, and especially if you're developing a device with novel technologies or use cases, now is the time to involve yourself in the development of the standard so that your device fits into the future version of the standard.
Yeah, that's a very proactive approach. And I know you like proactive, but having an insight into the standardization committee work like that is obviously a great idea. It also takes some time and money, which not everyone can spend, unfortunately. But if one can, it's a great idea. Or one can listen to you when you start being able to speak more openly about the
That's
changes,
true,
obviously.
but even I do not know all the details of what's coming.
That's great. Thanks you so much for the update on that. And we'll see if we have a reason to revisit, which I'm quite sure we have, the news in that new updated version of the standard in the future.